more headlines exposing problems at Manchester United. Well, that's according to the mainstream media. Here lies Raphael Varane facing a probe from Ten Hag and a possible fine or suspension from the club for breaching a major club rule. We're going to delve into this story. We're going to look at some transfers as well involving De Ligt to the Premier League with Arsenal and Manchester United link. The cost of Gyokeres to Chelsea has also been set. That and much, much more this morning. We're going to take a look at the Troy Deeney situation as well. And does speaking your mind work in 2024? Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see. We're not going to see you all again soon. I thought we were ending. Let's go. We all saw this headline last night. I didn't see it on the newspaper because it's the Sun, but we saw it trending. My DMs were lighting up. Oh, Terry, did you see Varane's gone skiing with his family? Another player that's disrespecting Ten Hag, more player power problems. There were others that were worried that he's then going to be suspended from the squad, weakening Manchester United further. And I read the article. And look, just because the man's on the ski slopes doesn't mean he's skiing. Let's have that right. You know, I've been to a nightclub before and not drunk alcohol. You know, I've been to the swimming pool with my kids and not got in the pool. Just watch them. So just because you're at ski slopes doesn't mean you're skiing. But I would say this is one thing. Man United is such an easy club to attack. The fans are on a hair trigger at every moment. The fact that somebody still internally has probably leaked some sort of information to cause problems is an absolute madness. It genuinely is. But this story, these lies have been absolutely exposed. The great people over at the United stand, who you have to say have grown so much over the years. They have their own sources now. They have their own, not so much inside information, but people, agents, players, officials they can speak to get stories clarified. Have stated that Raphael Varane will face no punishment from Erik ten Hag, despite the Sun saying he could. Rafa is enjoying some time off with his family in the Alps, but it's understood that there's no skiing involved from him or for him. And this is pretty atypical. He's not going to break those rules. He's not going to risk his own career for the sake of going down a ski slope. He's not going to do that. But the way in which this lie was spun, the way in which certain people internally at Man United push out this news is absolutely horrendous. And it's an element that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Blanc, whoever comes in has to fix. They have to flush out these rats. And there are ways of doing it. I've done it in my professional career. Sometimes when you're talking about, business dealings you've got going on, you throw a few lies out. You may change the value. I'm working on a deal that's worth $500,000. You wait and see if that comes out. You may only tell one person that. You'll see if they're a rat. That's what United have got to do. We've almost got to plant some seeds here. And maybe that's what's going on right now with the Martial story and the Varane story. Maybe the club is kind of telling certain people one thing to see whether that particular story comes out. Then you've got somebody who has loose lips. I don't like to defend too much around Man United at the moment because I think we've been run in an absolutely diabolical, unprofessional, gross negligent way for a very, very, very long period of time. But I will stand up for my club when it comes to these lies and this nonsense that gets spread. I really will. And whether it's the story in itself being created by a newspaper or whether it's somebody internally leaking out information or twisting information that they shouldn't, I'm going to stand up for my club at its heart and say this is a nothing burger story. United fans should be, like I am, like the United Stand has done, coming out and universally condemning it. Whether you like Ten Hag, love Ten Hag. Like Varane, hate Varane. Love Martial, hate Martial. I don't quite know why you'd hate any of your own players, but there we go. You should be standing up for your football club here and pushing back on this absolute nonsense. Talk about it, yes, but call it out for what it is. Absolute BS. It has to be shut down. And I'm so glad that a lot of United fans have actually gone out of their way to do that today. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on it here. They have to do a Colleen Rooney. Cedric, you're bang on. That's what they have to do. I've done it in recent times. I've kind of had conversations with people that want to work for the Football Terrace, and I may not necessarily trust them. So I'll tell them a little white lie, or I'll kind of twist something, or I'll make sure they're the only person that knows a particular story. And then I'll wait to see if that story comes out. And if it does, I never ever chat to that person again. I don't tell them. I don't expose them. I just do it as a way of, can I trust you? I always do it. Now, some can say that's sneaky, but maybe you've got to be a rat for a moment. Find a rat. You know what I mean? Like, and one thing I pride myself on is not talking other people's business. And there are a lot of people in this industry that know that that's how I am. I always remember when Rants and DT were going off at each other. And at the time, I used to speak to both of them regularly. I never once went to DT and said anything that Rants had said. I never once went to Rants and told him anything that DT had said, because it's not the kind of man that I am. So I hate this type of stuff. And even if the story is true, oh my God, I can't believe a player has done this. You still have to look at how the hell is this getting out the club? That element needs to be addressed massively, massively at Manchester United. It really, really does. Stir the waters and catch fish. It's true. Pat Butcher as well. What a legend. I will make you a mod. But remember, when you're one of my mods, it's literally the most heinous thing to get people banned. Other than that, leave people alone. If they slag your football club off, you got to accept it. You got to accept it. They say Madrid are rubbish. You can't be blocking people. Let's get that right. What's the name on the shirt behind you? There is no names on them. They're just the front of shirts. I was checking because I did have some shirts with names put on them, but they forgot to put the numbers on them. They're sitting in a bag down here, I think. Yeah. So I sent off to have some shirts made to go in them frames. And one was going to have my name on it, which was Fluers, right? But they forgot to put a number on the back. And then this one has the Terrace on. And that was meant to have a number on the back as well. And I forgot to put the numbers on them. And I got them from Kit Locker. So they're just sitting here doing nothing in a bag by the side of my desk. So I put them ones in instead. But yeah, that's why they're up there. It's been a while now as well. Listen, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this now, my people. Also, let me know where you're watching from this morning. I always like to know where people are around the world, and get the like button. Hit 500 of you watching right now, which is amazing. But let's get this up to 250, 300, 400 likes, my friends. Let's get that done. Terry, do you think Branthwaite would be a hit or miss if United sign him? Look, he's got the potential to be a hit. He's got the potential to be a hit. There's no doubt about it, because he's a quality football player. He really is a quality football player. You've only had to watch him a handful of times at Everton to know this. The problem for Man United is it doesn't matter if we sign a really talented football player or if we sign a really poor quality football player. If we don't get the culture at the club fixed, nobody will succeed here. If we signed Mbappe tomorrow, but the club continues to run and operate in the way it has done for a decade, he would not be the Mbappe we know in 3 years' time. That I would take to the bank. That I look at as a complete, I guarantee that to you. I believe in that strongly. So I think he's a talented player. We need more than just him, but he could be a star under the right environment. Man like Fred here watching from New York, big up yourself. Wolves in Finland, big up yourself, my friend. Hope you're well. Hope you're good over there. Jones here in Dubai. Love that, my friend. Love that. It come back here, says facts. Pranier says, facts, the environment is off-putting. Of course it is. It's just an environment that doesn't breed success, and that is what you need, is an environment that breeds success. Let's move on to some of these other stories this morning. This is in relation to Chelsea and their pursuit of Viktor, and I do believe it's pronounced Gyokeres. I think that's how it's pronounced. He says here, Chelsea have been told how much it would take to sign him this month. Asked about the rumours of an £85 million bid from Chelsea, he said, and this is the director of football at Sporting, he says, I don't know. I didn't even ask. Obviously, I was informed of the news. As soon as they said it was 85, I thought that's not enough. It's only 100 million. I'm not worried. So what's really interesting here is the way that's worded makes it sound as though they're genuinely maybe was a bid that went in. Once I heard, he made me once I read the news online, he said he wasn't worried. But they're saying it's going to cost £100 million to get Viktor away from Sporting, who, look, he's having a very good first season there. But I'm not going to lie to you. Is he worth that amount? What is 100 million euros in pounds these days? If you look at exchange rates, let's have a little look. 100, let me just write 100 million euros to GPP. 85 million. Is he worth 85 million pounds? Right now, you might say yes, you might say no. If you think that Rasmus Højlund cost 72 million, and there are a lot of Chelsea fans that think if Rasmus Højlund was in their team this year, they would have scored more goals. They'd be winning more games. They'd be higher up the league. I look at Gyokeres and think there's a real talent in there. There's a goal scorer in there. He's technically very good on the ball, holds play up well. I think in 2024, you could argue that he is an 85 million pound player, especially if you're buying him in January. And I think that's the key component here. If you're buying him in January, yes, he may very well cost that amount of money. He may very well cost that amount of money in January. He just may. So, yeah, look, I think it's a big move if Chelsea do it. I think it's a big commitment. I just don't see it happening this month, though. This may be a player that Chelsea look and explore later on down the line. The only other concern I would personally have with it as well, and I'd love to understand Chelsea fans' views on this, is it not another... He's not too young. He's 25 years old. But is there a lack of experience at the highest level? So I was actually looking at his career this morning, just looking at his career statistics. You know, yes, he was at Brighton, but he never kicked a ball in the Premier League. He played in the Bundesliga Division 2. He had 4 seasons in the Championship. And now at Sporting. And of course, Sporting, you know, a good level of football. You know, I would say the 5th or 6th best league in Europe, European football to boot. I know he's 25 years of age, so he's experienced. But is he experienced enough for Chelsea? They're going to drop 85 million, 100 million euros on a striker. Does it have to be? I just don't see why you don't spend an extra 20 million, 30 million and get Viktor Osimhen. In fact, if you're going to drop that amount of money, are you not better off buying Ivan Toney, who's only a couple of years older, more experienced at the higher level? And watching them both, I think better. So Chelsea fans, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on this man. Daza here up the Chelsea says, not for me, Terry. I'd love to know what you mean by not for you. I'd love to understand that, my G. I'd love you to understand what you mean. Højlund, 2 lucky goals, enough for United. What the Aston Villa goal and the Spurs goal were not lucky by any stretch of the imagination. They were both very, very, very well taken goals. And what's really interesting is where I feel a little bit sorry for Rasmus this season is we're just not creating enough even shooting opportunities for him. The fact that he's had, I think, half the amount of shots that Rashford has, half the amount of shots that Bruno has is a problem. We need to create more. His conversion rate of those 20 shots this season are 7 goals. So for me, if we'd have got this guy 40 shots this season, let's just say the conversion rate drops a little bit, you could still be looking at 12, 13 goals there. There's a player in there. There's genuinely a player. We all know Rasmus Højlund is highly talented. We also at Man United do not play the game where we get him running in behind enough. You've got a very strong, very fast, very pacey striker who loves to run in behind. We're not doing that. Everything is balls to feet or long balls in the air asking him to battle it out. Now, I'm fine with that. I want him battling it out at times, but there's no variation to that play. There's no variation to that play. So there's no lucky goals. By the way, he scored 10 goals last season for Atalanta. And when we signed him, people told me, I remember Lee Gunner saying he could score 10 goals last year in Serie A. I'm dividing that by 3 for what he's going to score for Manchester United year 1. Well, he's already on 7 with about half the season to go. So he's already at a point where I reckon he'll surpass last year's goal total. I actually think he'll end up scoring around 10 to 11 goals now in the Premier League. I think he's going to pick up from this stage and this point. Obviously, he can't score any more in Europe. There's the FA Cup to go as well. But I still think he's going to break last season's goal scoring. But if the team was playing better, there'd be a lot more goals from him. So I wouldn't say they were lucky by any stretch of the imagination. Maradon thinks Højlund is crap. That's fair enough. If you think he's crap, you think he's crap. I'll let you have that opinion. It's not going to trigger me. It's not going to trigger me in any way, any shape, or in any form. Terry, are the new owners trustworthy football people or typical business? It's a really good question. Sorry, I've had a bit of a cold. It's just clearing up. What I'm going to say about that situation is this. And I want to make sure I say this in the right way. Let's just say they're after making money. Let's just say they only want to make money out of Manchester United. It's a fair cop. It's a fair claim. For them to pump in 1.3 billion plus a further 300 million, so 1.6 billion, they have ideals of taking over the whole club, which could cost them 4 to 5 to 6 billion in totality. To do that and to get a return of investment, picking up £20 million a year in dividends is a drop in the ocean to 6 billion. It makes no sense. The only way you continue to grow Man United's valuation is by making the club successful. The Glazers didn't need to worry about that because they bought the club for nothing. They spent none of their own money. They were always going to make a profit. They borrowed money, which the club paid. For them, it was a free transaction. Can't be done anymore, by the way, that way. So even if they're here just to make money, they're going to have to make it successful to grow the value of the brand, because that's what they would look at it as, a brand, if they make it here to make money, to get a return on the 6 billion. If we keep regressing the way we are, we're not going to be worth 6 billion in another 10, 15, 20 years. Even with football growing financially, Man United will regress. We're picking up less and less new fans every year. And without sounding morbid, lots of fans die off every year, literally. The attrition is not working in Man United's favor. So, personally, I think they want to make us a good football team as well. They give me that impression and they give me that feeling. So, we will see how it progresses. But as of right now, I'm, of course, skeptical, and I will remain skeptical until I see genuine progression. But I feel all right about it as of right now. But a really good question, my friend. Thank you. Mate, they're pumping 1.6 billion into the pockets of the Glazers. Ineos won't do crap. Listen, anybody that bought the club were going to be pumping money into the Glazers' pockets. I think we're being overly pedantic with the information here. Say the Qataris bought us for 5 billion, they would have pumped 5 billion into the Glazers' pockets. If, for instance, the club is slowly purchased by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and they walk away with 5 odd billion, the Glazers, it's slower than we wanted, but it's the same outcome. The Glazers were going to make billions of pounds of profit from this transaction, irrespective of how it was done. They rejected the Qataris' bid. There's a lot of controversy around that at the moment, whether or not the Qataris even proved they had the money or wanted to really do it. But they rejected that bid. They rejected Sir Jim's bid. Sir Jim came back with a counter offer and said, well, how about I buy part of it? And that is what the Glazers went for. And the Glazers, by the way, are trying to make even more money out of it. Now, there's an argument to say, well, if Sir Jim wouldn't have offered a part purchase, maybe they'll come back and say, okay, we'll accept one of the 100% outrights. But that's pie in the sky. We have no idea of knowing. He could have not offered that, and we could be left 100% with them in an even bigger mess. The problem you have is this. We can play the hypothetical. If Sir Jim hadn't done this, cool. If Man United fans pulled their money away, they might have sold 15 years ago. So I'm not going to sit there and play the what-if game with Sir Jim when I'm not allowed to play the what-if game with any other scenario with Man United. How about you all gave up your season tickets, cancel all your subscriptions, and stop buying shirts, make a statement and say, well, we're going to do this until you sell. What if you did that? So I'm not having it. Listen, let's wait and see what Sir Jim and his team do. I'm not jumping onto this war by attacking the new part owners straight away. I'm gonna judge them by their actions as opposed to unsubstantiated fan opinion online. That's the way I'm going to do this. Please tell us how to get a 13 hat. I love your shows and have looks, but cannot find it anywhere. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you where you can find them. It's my friend's company. So it's not a big organization, but it's growing. Let me just go here onto Instagram. This is my boy Luke. Luke Dully is his name. I know him because I used to go out with his sister when I was at school. When we were kids, childhood sweethearts. I'll send you a link to their Instagram page. Go and check it out. They do a lot of stuff, hats, t-shirts, and much, much more. I'll put that in the link for you, my friends. So go and check out that. Style 13 London, really nice hats, t-shirts, and other types of clothing. Really good stuff over there. So go check them out. Hoodies and all sorts. Really nice stuff. Go check out their Instagram account. I just put that into the live comment section for you there. Moving on to another story that's coming out today, and that is that Arsenal are interested in trying to sign De Ligt from Bayern Munich. I'm going to read you the story in just a sec. I've just got to put the timestamp in so people tuning in later can see it. The story states that Arsenal are set to battle Man United for De Ligt. Arsenal and United could be set to do battle. The Dutch defender's Bayern Munich future appears to have been subject to question for some time now, with reports suggesting that he has somewhat of a difficult relationship with the new manager, Thomas Tuchel. We obviously know that Kim and who's the other main centre-back over there? Why has my brain gone absolutely to mush here? Why can't I remember the name of the other centre-back? He's quality. He's brilliant. Why can't I remember his name? I remember his name. Upamecano. We know that they are the two stalwarts in the team this year, Kim Min-jae and Upamecano, but I get it. I've got question marks about De Ligt, though. Genuinely got quick question. Yes, Eric Dyer. Yeah, it's Dyer. That's the one. It's one of these things where I think to myself, is De Ligt all that? Genuinely, is De Ligt all that? Is he really that good? Excellent at Ajax. Goes to Juve, and I thought he did okay. Gone to Bayern Munich. Again, how long has he even been at Munich here? Let me just click on his profile. Why can't I find his profile on their page? There he is. Still only 24, but he seems like he's been around forever. So I look at it, he's played 55 games so far, and they're already looking to move on from him, and he's 24. I'm just not sure about him. I'm just not sure about him. For Juve to be happy to let you go, for Bayern Munich to be replacing you already at 24 years of age, it tells me you're not good enough at the highest level. It tells me there's something missing, whether it's Terry, that's really rude. Okay, maybe it is rude, but I genuinely mean this. Man United are linked to him, Arsenal linked to him. I don't think he's good enough. And I don't care how rude that sounds, I don't think he's good enough. And I'm not sitting here saying I've watched him in a very detailed and surgical way for the past 4 or 5 years. I haven't. Even if you haven't watched a single game, Juve happy to let him go. Bayern happy to let him go. And he's still only 24. Does that not speak absolute volumes? Does it not speak? Juve also let him go for less money than they paid for him for. The talk is that Bayern would let him go for around 50 million, which means it's less. And then he bought him in 2022. That means he would go for less than they purchased him for. That tells me there's a problem. Now, I understand that, Arsenal fans may use the Odegaard example and say, well, Odegaard was looked at. Well, people say, what if Madrid were letting him go? Would he be good enough? And look what a player he's turned into. There's still question marks over him, to be fair. But that could be the exception that disproves the rule. Sorry, the exception that proves the rule. Generally speaking, if Juve let you go and Bayern let you go, and each time your transfer value drops, there's a problem. There's also the injuries. Just looking at his injury record here, since 2018, so we're only talking 5 years, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 injuries. In 2020, he had 3. 2021, he had 4. Only 1 in 2022. 3 in 23. He's already had this season, 2023-24 season, 3 injuries. My view is Arsenal, Man United, stay away from this man. He's going to be a big expense, 50, 60 odd million, fairly sizable salary, and he's going to let you down. He's going to let you down, whether it's on his ability, whether it's on his delivery, whether it's on injuries, or a combination of all 3 things. He is going to let you down. Genuinely. So, look, for what, my opinion, stay away from De Ligt. Stay away from De Ligt. 100%. 100% stay away from that man. Macavilla here says, De Ligt is average and he's so slow and he turns like a double-decker bus. He makes Maguire look like Usain Bolt. Yeah, I agree. I agree. He actually does make Maguire look quick. I think what he should do is leave and go back to Ajax. I think that level of football, that style of football suits him perfectly. I actually think, by the way, he should go back there. I always felt that Deeney should have gone back there. I think Ten Hag should go back there. I think Anthony should go back there and just try and create a really, really good Ajax team again. That's what they should do. I know they all want more money, so they leave. Europe's got far more money in it than Ajax does, and I understand that. But they all need to go back to that club because you wind back like 4 or 5 years. De Ligt, Anthony. Who else has left there and absolutely bombed? There's probably a few you guys remember, but just rejoin Ajax. Look how good they were all those years ago. The way they were, I mean, Donny van der Beek looked like one of the best attacking midfielders in Europe. Now, you can argue Man United ruined him, but there's been loads that have left and gone on to do nothing and have regressed. Hakim Ziyech. I don't think it's about Man United ruining them. I just think that some players are suited to a particular league, a particular pace, a particular standard and expectation. That's it. No, Terry, you are really being rude to De Ligt. So be nice. I'm not being rude. I'm being honest. I'm being honest about him. He's bang, 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 bang average in my very, 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 very humble opinion. I think he's bang average indeed. But look, everybody's entitled to their own opinion on this. They really, really are. But I think he's bang average. Nusa to Tottenham. I haven't read too much about this. Let me give this one a little Google as you've super chatted in. We're in talk with Club Bruges over Antonio Nusa deal. Okay. Spurs and Club Bruges are in talks over a deal for 18-year-old winger Antonio Nusa. Bruges are seeking 30 million euros for Nusa, and they guarantee he remains with the Belgian club for the remainder of this season. So it would be a buy now and kind of loan back situation. I don't know much about him, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to sit here and I know there's a lot of YouTubers that pretend they watch everything. I don't know too much about him at all. But yeah, look, I'll do some research on him. But I know Spurs fans will be excited because they really, really do trust. They really, really do trust what Big Ant wants. And I think that they looking at this player now as well. Let me just search where he plays. I know he's a winger, but I want to see where. It's one of the things I like about the transfermarket.co.uk is the website. It shows you where they play, their heat maps. So predominantly plays on the left, according to this, which is interesting. But they do probably need to start looking beyond Son because of Son's age. Let's have a little look at this season as an example. So yeah, this year predominantly on the left, 12 appearances, not a huge amount of goals. Last season, having a little look here, predominantly played on the right-hand side last year, but he didn't play very many games. He's only just broken through. So, yeah, interesting one. You know what? He's played quite a lot of Champions League games already in his career. which is good for a player so young. So, yeah, I don't know too much about him. I'll have to do a lot more research before I gave a thorough opinion on the player. I have to read up a little bit about him. But thank you very much for the super chat. Fred, thank you for being a member for 25 goddamn months. Thank you, my friend. And thank you here to Simon, who has become an official Football Terrace member with us today. I appreciate that, my G. A lot. Has become an Academy member. Thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate you doing that, my friend. And the Terrace has got some real exciting things coming up in the future. Our new studio is being readied at the moment. The electricians are in. The decorators join very soon. So we'll be back in a studio very, very soon. Lots of exciting new things on the horizon as well, which I can't talk about yet. But when they happen, I cannot wait to bring them to you. And being a member is going to be very, very key indeed. Terry, Bayern Munich wants Kieran Tierney from Newcastle. Okay, I mean, look, Kieran Tierney's a really good player. I do wish Man United had purchased him a while back. 2 summers ago, I think we were in for him, or 1 summer ago, 2, I think it was. I wish we'd have got him. I think he's really, really good. I think he's highly talented and very, very much underrated. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Another story that's circulating today is Liverpool set their sights on, I think it's pronounced Sudakov, or Sudakov, I'm not too sure. I run it through Google Translate. I should probably do it again, really, because I don't know much about this player either, but I wanted to delve into the story in a bit more detail. So it's Sudakov, is it Sudakov? Would you say that Kov or Kov? I put it through Google Translate. In Russian, they say Sudakov is what they say. I don't know much about this young player. No, I don't. I know very, very, very little about. Oh, is that a fake Mustafa? Okay, I will take him. Mama Flossie, I think you're a. Is it the fake one? All right, I'll remove him then. Hang on, there's one that's. Which one's a fake one? Let me find him. Okay, sorry, there we go. I'll remove him, and I'll add the real one. I've just added the real one. There we go. I did recognize him. It was literally the same profile. That's been done, Mama Flossie. But you're also, I think, Mama Flossie, you're a. Oh no, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove you as a moderator, Mama Flossie, and I'll add you as a managing moderator so you can control that in future. So I'm going to add, you've been around a long time, member for 29 months, pure trust there. So thank you. Look, I read this story. I don't see it. I don't see this. Again, Liverpool have been very quiet this window. I don't think Liverpool are going to spend a bean. They're not going to spend a bean. A bean. And this story almost proves it. 5 minutes of research into this player. He plays as an attacking midfielder. Why are Liverpool going to buy him? They've got Gravenberch. They've got McAllister. They have Soboslai. They have Curtis Jones. They have Harvey Elliott. If they're going to buy anybody, it's going to be a DM. This man is not a DM. So, Mama Maria Williams, where are you at? I will add you to it as well. I'll add you to it as well, Maria Williams. There we go. You're a managing status as well. That's done. There we go. But look, from my point of view, I just read this story and thought, what an absolute load of nonsense. Why are they going to buy another attacking midfield player? It makes absolutely no sense. It's come from, listen, the source it's come from in Italy, they've got a number of Italian stories right in the past. There's no doubt. I'm not discrediting them per se. I just don't believe it for a single second. It makes absolutely no sense for Liverpool to attempt to make this deal. Absolutely none. I don't know much about Sudakov. I don't know much about him at all. But Liverpool ain't buying him. Liverpool are not buying him. They're just not. It isn't happening. Jay here says, what's the point of Sir Jim if you can't spend money and selling promising youngsters already? Look, there's no one that Man United have sold that I'm overly bothered about at the moment. I don't think we've sold anybody that's absolutely stand out and is going to be an absolute world star. I don't. The point of Sir Jim, he isn't even ratified yet as the owner. So he can't do too much as of now because they're not ratified as owners. So they're slow down a little bit. He is officially not the new part owner yet. And the month is almost over. So I'm not judging him based on what's going on right now per se. Plus, we haven't really sold any youngster that I look at and think to myself, oh my God, what a player. I just don't. Now, look, guys, I want to play a video for you. I want to play a little video for you because Troy Deeney has been sacked. And I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this because of Standards FC. So let's take a little listen to what Troy Deeney had to say in an interview that essentially led to him being sacked.
Defeat here against Harrogate Town. What did you make of it this afternoon?
Probably the same as what everybody else did. A lot of nonsense. Group of people doing their own thing, hiding, scared. I don't understand why they're scared because should be used to losing based on what I've seen over the last.
God, I'm laughing because it's a madness, but I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he said that.
18 months, 2 years. And I know people are going to go, oh, Troy's being harsh and Troy's deflecting. Not deflecting, I'll take full responsibility for it. I picked the team. And, I'd like to apologise to the fan base, but I'm not really into the apologising thing. I'm into the fixing and sorting the issues out at its root core. And the issue at its root core is we've got a lot of people that haven't gone through the mill of humility to understand why they are here and what they've been doing. And, if this is your level at League Two, then why are you at the bottom of League Two? Because this club is not a bottom of League Two club. So we have to start addressing that. And the harsh realities of it is we can bring people in, which we will and we are. But if you come into an environment that is full of sulkers, full of people that blame other people, then it takes time. And listen, from behind the amount of things we've had to deal with on a daily basis. And fundamentally, that will change. And it will be changed very quickly.
Well, it was changed quickly, and Troy Deeney has gone. Now, I see comments coming in. Maradon here says, I'm hearing facts from Troy, though, Terry. Now, again, I'm not stating that he's lying. I'm not stating that he isn't speaking a large amount of truth in terms of there are players sulking, that there are players that need some humility, that have to understand that they are a big problem or they are not good enough. I'm not lying. I don't think he's lying that he feels that players are too scared to stand up in games, take responsibility and try and win. Being correct doesn't make you right in your actions. Not when you're a leader. When you're a leader, you have to understand how to, yes, get to the root cause of the problems, but you have to win the heart and minds of your team so those problems can be addressed. The irony in it is, Maradon, I've seen you come on the football terrace and slam Erik ten Hag for talking about player issues in public. Yet on this incident, you're saying Troy Deeney spoke facts. Now, we either live in a world where we want club situations to remain in-house and no dirty linen being aired in public, or we don't. I don't believe we can pick and choose. It's okay for this manager to do it, but not okay for him. It's okay to do it about this player or this group of individuals, but not this group of individual players. There's a huge double standard within all of this that I don't believe should exist. The double standard is huge. I also think 6 games into your tenure, this shouldn't be the type of interview that you're giving. This is the type of talk you should be having privately with these players. You should be at least waiting until you've had an opportunity through January and a summer transfer window to move some players out and bring some new individuals in before, and before you start outing people. That's why he is, in my opinion, it's partly the reason he's gone down to losing his job. And the reason why I say it doesn't work, it's not that it's not even right. Put that aside. I've had people turn around and go, I want a manager at Man United to call out the ownership. All that would lead to is them sacking him, somebody else coming in, and nothing overly changing. And that's all this has done to Troy Deeney. I think Troy Deeney's thought around how to fix his team It's correct. But how he's gone about it has led to him being sacked. Therefore, at this moment in time, nothing that he wanted to fix is going to get fixed. So from a club point of view, from a fan point of view, it was the wrong thing to do. Maybe as a fan, you're like, yes, this is what I want. I want someone that sees what I see. But how you handle it is important. Because if you handle it in a way that removes you from that position, you have no idea who's coming in next. The next person might come in and be a pushover, and then nothing improves and you get relegated. You've got to handle it right. As I've said, I don't think Ten Hag was overly wrong for what happened surrounding Jadon Sancho. I don't believe he's lied, Ten Hag. How he handled it was wrong. How the club then moved on from that point was wrong because it's led to the player getting out of the club. The team hasn't improved. But it's a debacle. And I look at Troy, and this is when people say, oh, I want a manager that comes in and calls out the owners. Will that fix your club, though? It might make you feel better in that instance. It might make you think, yes, I love it. But does it make the club better? That should, of course, always be your aim. The truth is important, but it's knowing how and when to reveal it is key. Ray here says, got to be careful now as a manager in today's football. Can't be shouting out players anymore because they're going to get you sacked. That's partly it. And I'm not saying that's right. But until that changes, be tactful with it. Equally, I don't think it's changed too much in the last 20 years. It's who and how and where and what. Like Pep doing it is going to have far more credit in the bank than a brand new manager, in my personal opinion. As I say, I'm not saying he's wrong to have these thoughts and feelings. I think you're wrong to do it publicly this early on. Because as much as people go, yeah, man spoke facts, he's a real one, ain't got a job. Maybe those situations will not get fixed at the club now. So how's that helped? Listen, I had a friend once whose sister got into a bad situation with a guy, and it was being handled by the police. And her brother, we all told him to stop. He eventually publicly put out who the person was that had been accused of this thing. It led to the guy not being convicted. So as much as you could go, well done for outing this predator, it led to him not being convicted. So in the long run, that guy can move to another town. No one's going to know who he is. There's no criminal record. He can go and do it again. Sometimes in life, doing the thing that appears morally right, in the end can still be wrong. And I remember that like it was yesterday. It's like, bro, don't do it. It's all gonna go wrong. And he did it out of anger. Sometimes loose lips sink ships. It's very, very important to remember that. And that's the same in any walk of life. It could be a business situation, a criminal situation, a coaching, footballing situation. The premise, in my opinion, remains very similar. There are times when you speak the God-given truth. There are times when you have tact, you have professionalism, you keep your powder dry, and you keep it in-house. And I think this, for me, is one of those circumstances. Doesn't mean what he said isn't right. Revealing it, I think, was wrong. Some people have to take responsibility. They absolutely do. Absolutely do. But there's a way in which you do it. Because this is the way an owner of a football club thinks. The manager outs all these players. I can't get rid of them all straight away anyway. If he outs them and damages his relationship with these players, does something that's considered wrong. By the way, all players came out and said it was wrong what Ten Hag did, right? So if the manager does that and he loses the dressing room, it's going to take a year or two to clear out this dressing room and bring a new one in. But you're not going to get results in the meantime. If it's a private situation, it's different. Maradon here says, Troy also saying this can sort the issues as well, Terry, in the long run. It may very well do. It may very well do. It may do. The new guy comes in and learns from what Troy has done here, and it could fix things. Maybe. But maybe not. But maybe not. Terry, we need to sign this Japanese Cobra guy. I don't know much about it, but I have to have a little look and see who it is that you're talking about there, my friend. Ferguson and Wenger could do that, but not a new manager. I think how long you've been there is a very important part. And it's also who, what, how, and why. But 9 times out of 10, Wenger and Fergie protected their players, good, bad, or indifferent, in nearly every interview and press conference they gave. Every now and then, they wouldn't. But as a general rule, they protected their players. As a general rule. and it's understanding how to do it in the right way. It could be injuries, a lack of pace on the turn. Okay, about the lit thing. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I would have done that super chat there. I want to thank II Skills here for being a member now for 5 months. You absolute legend. I really do appreciate that. Terry, bro, yes or no, Ten Hag? Yes or no, Ten Hag? Yes or no, Poch? No to both. No to both. Mourinho did the same, Terry, and years later, most United fans said he was right. Yes, but you're missing a point here. First of all, the Man United fans that say Jose was right were the same Man United fans that wanted him sacked for wanting to get rid of Pogba and Martial. So I don't take what they say too seriously, because they're still out there now defending those players. But they say Jose was right about everything. The way he behaved wasn't right, but let's just say what he said was. 2018. 6 years later, what's improved, Maradon? So you've now just gone an example you've used for me saying Troy Deeney saying this publicly might feel great in the short term for some of his fans of the football club he's managing, but in the long run may not fix anything now because he's not there to do it. You then said that it might, and your example is Jose. Jose said it. He's now being celebrated for it, but 6 years later, Man United have not got better. In fact, we've gone backwards. So it didn't work. Can somebody find me an example? And I want at least 5 examples of a manager outing the problems at a club publicly like Troy Deeney did, where within 2 to 3 years, that club is at the best or peak of its powers again. Can we find 5 examples of that in management, please? And we can go as far back as 1985 when I was born, right through till today. And Maradona, if anyone can find me 5 examples, manager A slags off owners and players and outs what's wrong with the club, and within 3 years, they're back to the peak level that club has ever been at. So whether it's League One, Premier League, find me 5 clear examples. And by the way, that's still a very small, minute amount of cases considering how many managers have managed clubs since 1985. Find me 5 examples where it's worked, and I'll change my mind. This is the problem with the ideology that people come out with, is that there's, and by the way, within the time frame that Troy Deeney's done it as well. We can't say 6 years in Fergie had a go at someone. Within the time frame, within the first 12 months, we'll say. I need the examples of where this has happened and where this has worked. So this is the problem with people saying it's the right thing to do. Prove it. Prove it's the right thing to do. And I mean this with all due respect, not from some personal reflective stance of, well, that's what I would do in that situation. But have you ever had a job at a serious level of management? Have you ever had a job where you're leading a team that when you look at between their salary and the deals you do is worth millions of pounds? If you've never had a job at that level, your opinion is valid to a certain degree, but you've got no skin in the game. You've got no credibility. What's the biggest decision you've ever made as a leader? What have you done to validate that opinion? It's very easy to give opinions. If you've never been in a circumstance, you have to look at it. And that's when I try to formulate my opinions, it isn't just how I personally view things. It's how I view things based on the reality of the world. So I don't know very many examples where someone's done what Troy Deeney has done and they've gone on to a level, that team's gone on to a level to be amazing. So therefore, how is it the right thing to do? Barring making you feel better about your club or giving you a little shot of adrenaline. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yo, Terry, my bro, do you think Arteta could turn the ship around like Sir Jim Ratcliffe? Sorry. Do you think Arteta could turn the ship around under Sir Jim Ratcliffe's reign? Do you know what's crazy? Look, Arteta could make Man United play better football. But my opinion on Arteta still remains the same. I don't know whether he's good enough to win Arsenal major trophies yet. So therefore, I don't know if he's good enough to make Man United win trophies. But he could make Man United play better football. I do believe that because Arsenal over the last few years have played better football than Man United. But is he good enough to win us the league? Don't think so, or I don't know. The IQ of this, plus managing Man United is a very different scenario. It's more pressure, more noise, more media attention. I just don't know if he could do it here. The IQ of this conversation is on the floor. Love the show, though. What's wrong with what I've said, my bro? What's wrong with what I said? Why is it low IQ to say that atypically out in your workforce doesn't lead to improvements when you do it publicly and embarrass them? I think that's pretty standard. I think. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Man, I've been following you for years. My bad. It took me so long to subscribe. Keep up the great work and inspiring other content creators. Thank you, Studio Hooks. I appreciate that, my friend. I do appreciate it. I really do. Unfortunately, the Glazers have United by the balls in a vice. Yeah, they do. And every time Man United fans spend money on the club, they deepen those hooks into Manchester United. Every time a Man United fan spends money on the club, they deepen those hooks. 110%. This is if the players have, I think you mean have fragile mentalities, calling it out in the media is the most illogical way to handle the situation. That's bad player management. That's also true. We often do this in life. I'm someone that's always been quite capable of handling fairly aggressive feedback in a working environment. I've always just been okay with it. And I think that's due to my sort of martial arts background and how our coaches spoke to us as kids and to adults. Some people can't handle it, and you've got to learn you can't treat everybody in the identical way because we're all motivated by different things. Different things motivate us. We learn different ways. We're motivated by different things. Therefore, you have to treat people differently at the right time. You're absolutely spot on. And thank you, Josh, for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. That means a great, great deal to me. It truly, truly does. And I appreciate all the lovely comments that we've had on the show today as well. Do some more of your comments here. Let's have a little look. He's under pressure at Arsenal, and look at what he's done. Fan base blaming him for not beating one of the best clubs in Premier League history. He would crumble at United. United needs someone proven. Yeah, Man United is a bigger challenge than Arsenal because we're just an exponentially bigger football club with far more pressures on us. It's as simple as that. But I do think he'd make us play better football. It's a good question, though. If you talk about the club and players on TV, nobody will hire you after that with the fear that it doesn't work out. You will do the same again. It's also about, do you know what it sometimes comes down to as well? You want to make sure, a lot of the time you also get sacked because you breach your contract. So I have contracts with, when I have a sponsor, I have contracts with partners. I also have employment contracts with the likes of KJ. And there's an element of confidentiality and non-disclosure within all of them. There's certain things, for instance, say I make a mistake. Oh, it's embarrassing, man. I don't want my partners or my employees airing that publicly. So you put situations in place where it can't be done. Now, some will say that's trying to control the narrative. No, that's just trying to keep things professional. It's normal in every walk of life. And if you disagree with it, you disagree with it. But it just tells me what kind of person you're. Because I will also, the reason you need these clauses, I would never think to do it. If someone did me dirty, fair enough. Fair enough. If I did someone dirty on purpose. But if my boss ever made a mistake when I was younger, in my working career, they made a mistake, and we'd chat about it and they'd say, I'm so sorry, I made this mistake. I shake their hand, that'd be the end of it. I wouldn't tell a soul. I might tell like someone at home, but I wouldn't tell the rest of the workforce. I wouldn't tell their boss. I wouldn't send emails behind their back. I wouldn't be at like a work event and start telling everybody publicly. I just find that the fact that we now need contracts that state you can't do that shows you how evil and horrible the world has become. It really does. Really does. But there we go. Man United always had this authoritarian way of coaching. It worked for Fergie, but times have changed. You can't treat professional players like school children. Yeah, listen, I think there's a happy medium. I think there's a happy medium. Do I think Man City will get relegated if found guilty? I'm not confident or lack confidence in them being convicted because we don't know. All the evidence we've seen is the emails. The Premier League have stated they have far more evidence than that. So let's wait and see if they do. If there's evidence to prove these things, I actually can't fathom how they get out of it. If there's no evidence, then they'll be found innocent. But if there's no evidence, but they still don't give a defense of their situation, it's just, well, no evidence, we're not going to hear it, then the door's going to be left open for interpretation. So what I would love to see happen is claim made, evidence produced, counter evidence produced, and then we get an outcome of they're innocent or they're not, or they're guilty. Not their guilt couldn't be proved. Because remember, in all these circumstances, you have to prove guilt. But I don't want them to be found sort of not guilty because of a lack of evidence, but yet didn't provide anything. I would love to see this just closed down, clear cut, so we know. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But listen, if they're found guilty of what they've been accused of, they are going down. It's as simple as that for me. Listen, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in this morning. Remember, we're live at 3 p.m. today for Sam and me talking all things football, previewing the weekend ahead. Until next time, my friends, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.